What else?
I think that was it. That's really all we drew. We were in the middle of work. We had 20 minutes between calls.
Let me think. I'm sure we can think of some other. I mean, if we were gonna go for...
really the only male one that we've got is the one in Hemingway. If you kind of notice, we're catering towards the girls.
If you did Crawford and Lewis.
If you did Crawford and Lewis, Jesus Christ.
Crawford and Lewis's would be a holy amalgamation of what the fuck, because Crawford is like this lavender pit color, and then Lewis has all the designs on him.
Yeah.
Now,
but
I imagine, like I said, with Lewis's thing, his pattern doesn't really exist anymore. So what I did for him and Twain's kid was I had her be green damask.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
it's close enough.
Would go with it. Jesus, actually, if Lewis and Crawford had a kid, I imagine him actually being really calm, which is odd.
Dad, stop being insane.
Yeah, I see him just being like really quiet because of Uncle Vic.
Because of Uncle Vic. Uncle Vic's fault. What do you think?
Vic's. Nice.
Would that work for her leggings?
It's kind of an out there color.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go
compared
with that,
to her dress and everything.
Or actual black.
That's fine. That's perfect.
I was thinking of making it a little bit darker, but I'm not
A little bit darker.
Sorry, guys. I'm putting,
pantyhose.
I can't. God, I'm such not a girl. I can't.
I know, right?
What pantyhose is.
I only had to wear pantyhose. Only ever had to wear pantyhose for show choir. I wanted to kill somebody with the damn pantyhose.
For choir. I
was like, no, just give me a suit. Give me a tuxedo.
I know, right? I had to wear them for church, of course, when I was a kid. God, I really do hate pantyhose.
We've gotten that question so much at work. Which one's gonna wear the dress, or which one's got the suit?
Which one of you is the guy?
Yeah, it's like it kind of goes back and forth.
Because with your all's powers combined, you have over 9,000 vagina points.
Whoa.
What?
With all your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
No, Sean actually asked me that. He goes, I mean, your all's vagina powers are like over 9,000 together. I was like, really, dude?
But yeah, I mean, jeez, if we could have babies, If we
could have babies, our poor stitch punks would probably kill us. Because
okay, look, if we remember that 3x3 theory? Where, there's always 3 in every group? I want you to imagine every pair having a kid in those 3x3. Now think, we have 64 stitch punks, and that's not all of them that we have, because there are some that we just haven't actually finished developing yet. But imagine that. Do you really want to sit through a comic that has to focus on that many?
That many kids?
Oh.
It's funny though, because I kind of want to take a second to talk about, because we discussed it. We try to discuss it in terms of RagNBone that much, because obviously, oh Jesus, we don't want to put them in. But I do want to take a second to discuss it in Good Company standpoint, because in Good Company standpoint, it could possibly happen, and it's okay if we have it happen because they're humans.
I already drew Anton's kids.
We discussed what would happen if the characters in Good Company had kids, because the characters in Good Company are, of course, similar. In particular, I know we discussed if Wagner and Dabney had a kid, and we also discussed if Anton and Emery had a kid. And Anton and Emery's kid, God.
Anton and Emery's kid. I can see the kid having the serious sense to know when to stop, just like Emery, and I can see him being outgoing like Anton. Oh my God. And I see him and Wagner's kid fighting for this damn pocket watch. And eventually, I see Anton just keeps forgetting to actually get him one. Or something similar. Or just doesn't actually have the opportunity to get one. And then finally...
Which is funny considering,
finally, I see Emery just telling Daddy, get this kid a goddamn watch before I kill yours! Oh, and we joked around with Anton's kid. Emery has a dog. It's a Norwegian elk hound named Popper. And originally she was supposed to have 2, but because of her profession and the way that I kind of set up her hours that she works there, it was kind of like, no, you could really only have 1. So we have Popper, and we joked around with the idea, because Popper normally attacks any male that comes into her house, and doesn't when Anton comes in, which was the first bad sign. But with Anton's kid, I can see we joked around with the idea of them getting a Norwegian Elkhound puppy for Anton's kid, and so you would have these 2 dogs, and we would name the little one Prince because that was originally supposed to be the other dog's name had we had 2 dogs, like the Prince and the Pauper. So we figured we would have that, and God, that household would never sleep.
No,
at all, ever.
Not with the kid in there.
No, not with the kid, not with the Anton, not with Pauper or Prince or Emery.
Dabney and Wagner's.
Dabney and Wagner's.
Because of the age difference. The age difference in of course
we push a lot of age boundaries in Good Company. You have to understand this. The only underage that we have is Harvard, so it's not much of a concern. But you're gonna kind of be like, wait, what? With some of the ages.
Yeah, because, I mean, some of their ages... I mean, it's funny, because with Stitch Punks, this isn't really a problem. With Stitch Punks, their ages can be all over the damn place, because it doesn't really matter that much.
I mean, gargoyle, itty bitty.
Wagner, I always pinpointed him as being in his 50s, while she pinpoints Dabney as being in her 20s.
Dabney's in her 20s.
So, it's like, well, do we change it when we bring it over to Good Company or no? No, let's run with it. We'll keep it and see how this goes.
Because it happens.
50-year-old and 20-year-old having kids together. It's kind of a, it's not terrible. Well, in his eyes, it's like, oh, Jesus, what am I doing?
Guilt! Unbearable!
So much guilt and guilt! But, yeah.
But God, their kid would be so adorable.
What would be really adorable?
I don't know. I kind of see him being a little bit autistic with that damn watch. Because we had this thing going where he would find a watch just laying on the table because Wagner didn't put it away in the shop. And Dabney didn't. And so he gets this watch. And he's looking at this watch, and it's a really sparkly watch. Because, I mean, come on. Your dad's a fucking jewel crafter. So you have this really sparkly watch, and he keeps it. And he tries to open it, and Dabney finally shows him how to open it, and so he's staring at the hands and realizes that whenever the hand moves, it ticks. So he keeps it pressed against his ear.
The side of his head.
Keeps it pressed against the side of his head, against his ear, and he walks around. And I can see him walking around with his thumb in his mouth.
This kid's like 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, and he's walking around. I can see him even as a toddler kind of just keeping it with him. And it's kind of like a security blanket. And so it's just all... Okay, he's got this thing where, when he's uncomfortable or something, he goes back to listening to the ticking on the watch, which is kind of, a slap in the face kind of joke to Wagner being a Franz punk.
Yeah, working because the clock.
So,
and,
we have this kid with this watch, and Anton's kid gets jealous that Wagner's kid has a watch. And he wants to know why he has a watch and he doesn't. And so it's just kind of funny. And they haggle. Wagner and his kid kind of haggle. Because Wagner realizes this watch is way too valuable for this kid to have. Let me switch you out for another watch. Look, let me trade you.
Their professions stay the same. In Good Company, Wagner is a jeweler and he has his own shop. So, he's sitting here trying to get this watch he's been working on. It's really expensive away from his 3-year-old.
And Dabney's just like, just let him have it. He's like, no, this is for a customer.
I can't just make up another one.
He's like, wait, and disappears, and he gets another watch, and he comes back, and he's like, look, do you want to trade?
Yep.
It is so adorable.
It's amazing.
Christian and Brad, we joked around about them having a kid. And Jarek being the absolute cutest big brother ever. Let's see. We kind of had it set on what genders they would have, too. If Twain and Vic had a kid, it would be a girl. If Brad and Christian had a kid, it wouldn't really matter, but I can see it being a girl.
I guess, Brad and Christian had a kid?
Brad and Christian, either a girl or a boy, and it wouldn't matter either way. It's just kind of Jarek's thinking, oh, hey, I get a little sister, a little brother. And, let's see, Emery and Anton would have a boy. Dabney and Wagner would have a boy. Five and Dickens.
Oh, God, I don't know.
I don't know what they would have.
I really don't. The one I drew up was a boy. And I don't know, I see them having a tomboy. Lewis and Twain, I see if they ever did have a kid, it would be a boy. Or, actually, I can see being a boy or a girl, because the one I drew looks like it could go either way.
Tchaikovsky and Sam would have, I can see them adopting.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, God, they would.
Johan and Harvard. We're not touching kids ever.
No kids. You got all these kids running around the restaurant. No.
No, I just see Johan being like, that is too
Elsa
much
and Lexington. I think we said that they were going to have a girl.
Yes.
They would have a girl.
God, yeah. And now that I think about it, in RagNBone, there's other reasons why they wouldn't even be able to. Because, okay, I'm not going to go into detail, but suffice it to say that some of the designs between different
of the college punks in particular, which is the group that we're keeping away from you guys.
The college punks, yeah.
The Franz punks, the college punks, and the facade crew, and because of
the hate punks.
Diggory.
Their designs are so different from the regular base set design for Stitch Punk.
Yeah.
I'm not saying outlandish in the way they look, though they look very similar. The interior setup is entirely different. So
I mean, really, if you want to run with it, for the hate punks, the kind of design flow that goes with it, I have Hush in my gallery, and Hannah has Arsenal in hers. And just the way that they are, the years that they've been created, and the design that they carry with them, and you'll understand why we're keeping the college punks from you guys
when you see them.
You may not understand at first, but you'll really understand after a while.
I promise that while our designs may be out there, if you guys have questions or if something seems really bizarre about what we've done,
trust me, we'll explain it to you, because we don't actually push anybody into the comic if we know that it's going to be way too out there.
And we actually lampshade it in some of the ways that the other characters respond to the way that the characters are done. So
so it's not like, oh well, no, we're just throwing this in there and hey, it does work.
No, it's perfectly normal.
It really does work, and we even have an issue where the college punks, like Anton and Emery and Johan and Harvard, there are limitations to both of them because of how the designs are set up. So you guys are gonna love it.
Yeah,
frankly. But I think that's it.
I think that's it. I'll have to upload the Derpa sheet.
I mean, if you guys want, I guess it wouldn't be any problem to tell you guys the relationship statuses of all the characters. I mean, just so you know, Anton Emery, Johan Harvard, and all that.
We've covered pretty much.
We've pretty much covered most of them, but I mean, Stitch Girl and Insane in particular. If you guys have know a character that you particularly like, we can show you exactly who you're there with, and then
if you have a particular crack pairing you want to see a baby made of, I'll draw it.
We'll do it. But me, I won't touch the sketchbook anymore, because once that gets in my head and I start giving them names,
I can do it if I don't do anything past a rough sketch. If I do it don't pass a rough sketch, then I don't end up making a character.
See, I'm like that with my writing. I can write about anything. That doesn't mean it's gonna happen. But
what half the shit that you dream up?
Yeah, half the shit that I write and I dream up and I write down. I have so many one-shots for RagNBone as a side series. Anton, the issue with Wagner. A lot of it with the Franz punks. There's one with Vic and Crawford. There's one with... I have like a lot of them, but I kind of treat it where it's a side thing. It's just one of those things, you know it's not going to work, but it doesn't hurt to write it anyway. And she's the same way with drawing. However, if she were to write it, chances are she would kind of get it in her head to keep it. Whereas if I'm drawing it, oh God, I would keep it and distort it.
That's the thing. If I'm drawing it, if I'm just drawing up like a rough sketch or something that I'm very clearly know isn't going to be, if I'm drawing up a really quick rough sketch, or if it's something that I know is not...
As long as it's not final lines.
Or it's kind of... I know it's going to be a joke. I don't think about too much, but when I start getting into character design, I really want to keep designs. You don't understand, guys. It's kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We couldn't get through drawing Nip and Tuck without wanting to keep them.
Because
there was no way.
The problem is I start characterizing them, because in order to draw a character, I have to characterize them, and when I start characterizing them, I give them
music
an attitude, a name,
and that's kind of where we kind of set in stone with the kids in Good Company, because I was the idiot who had to draw Anton's kid and give him a voice and a theme song.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I love this picture so much right now.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. So I think that's it.
I think that's it for now. If you guys have any particulars, let us know.
I'd like to take a nap now. Can I take a nap now?
If you want to take a nap.
Yay, nap!